Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's me, Megan, and I'm back with a library book haul predictions revealed. I feel like it's been 50 years since I've recorded a video. I feel like I've been very slow with reading, but we are finally here, and I've finally finished 4 library books. So, let's jump right into it. The first book that I read was Blood Scion by Deborah Falai. This book, this pretty book. Alright, this was longlisted for Canada Reads 2023, and I rated it 4 stars. This was intense. I wasn't prepared for how intense this was going to be. Like, the main character, she's like 14, 15 years old, and she goes through the ringer. Like, wow, I wasn't prepared for that. But I really liked how everything was handled. And I really like the way, like, it was like the pitfalls. You were like up, down, up, down. You never knew who was going to be who, almost, because it felt like everyone had these ulterior motives, ulterior pasts, and you were like, what? Like, even her grandfather, who she thought she could trust, turned out to have some ulterior past, and I was blown away by all of the things that kept happening in this series. Like, this takes place in, like, this dystopian world. It kind of reminded me of the Hunger Games in the sense where when you turn, I think it's 15, you could potentially be enlisted in this army, and she unfortunately does. So these people, so I read this quite a while ago, so please forgive me. But she is, so the Lucius army do not like who she is. So she's a Scion, and that means that she has these powers. And I really hope that because there's going to be a second book. So I really hope in the second book that she's gonna show off her powers more, because this one's kind of like her coming into them. So I'm hoping like the next book is like, ah. And so it's really interesting because like the army that she's been asked to join, they don't like them, and that the whole point of their army is to get rid of these Scions, but no one knows that she's actually a Scion, so it's really interesting. So she kind of wants to join to like infiltrate their army and like kill them from the inside. So it was just so much happening. So I highly recommend this book. So yes. The next book I read was The Death of Vivek Oji by Akawe Imizi. I don't think I'm pronouncing her name right, but this is this book. I ended up rating it 4 stars. I was very tempted to rate it 2 stars for almost the entirety of the book because I didn't feel connected. I didn't know what was happening, but I was correct in the sense that there was a double there was a double meaning to the death of this character. And I thought that was so clever, and the way that the author handled it was really, really well done. It's basically like so this character actually does die, but there's another significant reason to this character's death, which, I mean, you have to I don't want to spoil it, so I'm like, read it, find out about that, because it's just so well done. It takes a long time to get into it, though. That's the problem. At least it's short, because by the time I got to the end, I felt really fulfilled, and I felt, oh, okay, like, this was beautiful. And just the way that his parents came to terms with things, more so his mother than anybody else, because, like, he's left on his parents' doorstep, and now his mother is like, well, I want to know how he died. And so the whole book is her trying to find out how he died and why he died. So it was just so well put together. I just wish the beginning had been a little bit better, a little tweaked, but yeah. I do recommend this. I mean, it does have incest in it, so I know that some people, that's a big turnoff. But I kind of looked over that part, and if you look at the other aspects of it, it's actually really good. So I highly recommend this one. So the next book I read was Omens by Kelly Armstrong. This is the first book in this Canesville trilogy. Not trilogy, it's a series. In which I thought when I did my predictions video that it would have something to do with werewolves, and it has nothing to do with werewolves. But it does have a lot to do with like the supernatural and superstitions, and I thought that was so cool. I swear, Kelly Armstrong is such a talented writer, and like she just hooks you in with all these like really interesting plots and these really like interesting stories. So I rated this 4 stars. So I read her Rockton series before I read this one, and this one was actually written before her Rockton series started. But the two series are very, very similar in the fact that they take place in a small remote town. The main character is a woman who's like trying to reinvent herself and be a new person, and now she's meeting a guy who has connections to the small town, and I'm like, okay, if in the following books to this series she starts to fall in love with this guy, I'm gonna be like, this is kind of weird. But I like that they're different in vibes. Like the Rockton series takes place in the Yukon and the cold and murder mysteries happening up there. This one takes place in like this small Canesville, I don't even think that's our actual place, in like Chicago, or well, Illinois. And it has like I say, supernatural vibes, and it's creepy, and I love the superstition stuff. It's so good. And like the way that she like she started this series, but there's a lot of questions that have been left unanswered. Like the main story that she was the main story, you have your answers. But then there's this whole world that she's opened up, and we're waiting I'm like, I still need to know, like, is she really this person? Like, we still need to know a lot about her as a person, and I just can't wait to read the next installments to see who she becomes and how, and just where the story goes from there, because I'm sure there's going to be other shorter mystery plots to come, so I can't wait. I love her writing. It's so good. I highly recommend. And then the last book that I read was The Wolf by Nate Blakeslee. This one. I was going to rate this 2 stars as well, but I ended up putting it to a 3. This is a nonfiction book. It's interesting, but if you love wolves, it would be like super 10 times more interesting. I don't really care about wolves, and this book talked a lot about wolf the word is not coming to me, but preserving wolves. Like, I don't know why I can't say I can't say the word, but yeah, preserving wolves and protecting them and watching them in Yellowstone, and there's a lot of politics that are playing into this as well. Like, he talks about like Obama and a lot of politicians that mean nothing to me as not living in the US, so it was just really interesting. But what I really liked about this was how connected we were to the wolves. Even though I really didn't think that we were that connected, we were more connected than I thought, because by the end, when you realize that the wolf, this one wolf that we've kind of been following throughout the entire book, sees its demise, it dies, you're like, wow, I'm actually kind of sad about that. Like, it was just really, I wasn't expecting to feel sad about that, but I was like, oh. So yeah, so it's interesting, but I would only rate it, like, I think I rated it 2.5 on Storygraph, and I think I rated it 3 on Goodreads, because I'm like, it's great if you like wolves, but I mean, it's kind of boring otherwise, so I don't know. Those are my clumsy thoughts on this one. So, I mean, meh. Would I recommend it? Probably not to like the average reader, but I mean, if you're into nonfiction and you're into wolves and nature and that kind of thing, hey, give it a shot. It's got some interesting facts in it. So, that was this one. So these were the last 4 library books on my list that took me 30 million years to read. But I got some bangers, because I got like 3 4-star reads out of here, so I'm excited. I'm happy. Good times. So that is all I have for you guys today. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. I thought the books were going to fall. Give this video a thumbs up, a like, a subscribe, a do your thing, and I'll see you all in my next video. So thanks, and bye guys!